Welcome to Helen's Journey. Improve your English skills through this exciting story about Helen, an Ethiopian-American girl exploring Ethiopia and trying to find her birth family. Brought to you by the U.S. Embassy to Ethiopia. The U.S. invests in Ethiopians. Episode 20. It's over. Welcome back, friends. Previously on Helen's Journey, Alamayo learned that Zagaye is a corrupt student council president, and he was using Helen to get a visa to the United States, and he has another girlfriend. Khalid told Helen. How is Helen feeling? What is she going to do about Zagaye? Let's listen and find out.
Helen, my love, how are you? How was Mekelle? Are you back in Addis?
We need to talk.
What's wrong?
I know about everything. I know you have been accepting bribes. I know you have another girlfriend. Your real girlfriend.
What? What are you talking about?
I know you only dated me because you want to get a visa to the U.S.
Helen, who told you this? This is crazy. I love you.
I feel so stupid. I should have seen what was happening.
Seen what? Did Khalid tell you those things? Alamayo? You know they don't like me. You can't believe them.
I do believe them.
Please, Helen, let's meet. I can come to your home. We should talk about all this.
I don't want to see you. Do not come to my home. Goodbye, Zagaye. It's over.
Helen, wait.
Helen ended her relationship with Zagaye. Now, someone is knocking on the door of her house. Who is it? Let's listen and find out.
Who is it?
It's me, Alex.
Hi, Alex. Please come in. I was worried it was Zagaye. He said he wanted to come to my house so we can talk in person about everything, but I don't want to see him.
So you spoke with him?
Yeah, I called him this morning when we got back from Mekelle. I told him our relationship was over.
I'm sorry about this situation. I wanted to come see how you are and check if you have any questions. Originally, Khalid wanted me to tell you about Zagaye because I am the one who uncovered his corruption and betrayal of you. But then it seemed too important to wait. So he told you everything?
Thank you for checking on me. Would you like some tea?
Oh, sure.
Here you go.
So, are you okay?
Well, I'm pretty shocked. I still can't believe Zagaye had another girlfriend. Maybe Khalid told you that I cried a lot in Mekelle when he first told me. But I'm finished crying now. I shouldn't cry for Zagaye. He's not a good person.
You can cry if you need.
But I'm not sad anymore. Now I'm just angry. Angry at Zagaye, angry at myself. I feel so stupid, and I should have seen some things about him.
Like what?
Like, he asked me for money, and he asked me about visas. He was so casual about it at first that I didn't notice. But then, recently, he really pushed me. He told me he loved me and he wanted to get married. But it was all a lie.
Yeah, some people will do anything for their own benefit. They don't care about other people.
You are doing the right thing by publishing the story. The campus needs to know the truth about Zagaye.
I know. This is what I want to do with my life. Report on Ethiopian government and politics, uncover scandals, uncover corruption. Keep the people of Ethiopia informed. But I know it won't be easy.
But it's really wonderful that you have a passion.
Yes. Although I'm sorry, my passion resulted in uncovering your boyfriend for a dishonest person.
Don't be sorry. It's better that I know now who he truly is. Can I ask you something?
Oh, sure.
Orphan to orphan? Maybe you will understand me because you don't have parents. I have my parents in America, of course, but you know what I mean.
Of course. Orphan to orphan. I like that. We should have a club.
Exactly. Do you think being an orphan has affected your relationships? I mean, romantic relationships?
Honestly, I haven't had much experience with romantic relationships, so I don't know. Why? Do you think it has affected your relationships?
Well, yes. My friend Samira always tells me that I'm boy crazy, that I forget about myself and my own interests and plans when I get a boyfriend. And she thinks that the people I date are usually not good. I used to think that she was wrong, but now that this happened with Zagaye, I've been thinking a lot about it.
I don't see the connection between Zagaye and you being an orphan.
Well, I think I desperately seek love in romantic relationships to fill the gap created by my status as an orphan and an adoptee. I think something is missing for me. I don't know my birth family. I don't know my home culture. I don't know my mother tongue. Geez, I don't even know what my mother tongue is. Is it Amharic? Oromo? Tigrinya? Something else? And so to distract myself, I use romantic love. I don't like being alone because when I'm alone, I think about everything. Who am I? Where am I from? Am I American? Am I Ethiopian?
But now you are here in Ethiopia. You're learning about your culture. Do you think that will help you resolve these feelings?
I don't know. I hope so. But I also don't think it will solve all of my problems. Now I am aware of my weakness, so I need to be more careful. What about you? Why don't you have romantic relationships?
I think for me, I've been really focused on school and work. I don't think it's about my status as an orphan, but I also feel the pain you feel about not having a home and not having a family. My situation is different, of course. I was not adopted to another country, so I feel close to Ethiopia. But on the other hand, I don't have what you have. You have parents in America that love you and support you. I have nothing.
That's not true. I am very thankful that I was adopted to my American family, but I also feel angry at the same time. Angry that I was separated from my home country.
I think that makes sense. You should feel both things.
Thanks for talking with me about it. Not a lot of people understand what it's like. Even Samira, who I love and am so close to, she doesn't really understand these things.
Yeah. I had some friends at the child care center.
The one that burned down?
Yeah. Before it burned down, we played together and studied in class together. The other orphans were like my family. But when it burned down, we were all sent to different centers. So we were separated. Shortly after that, I went to university, so I haven't had a friend like you in a long time. Someone else who's an orphan.
It's been really nice talking to you this afternoon.
You too.
Hey, I have an idea for our orphan club. Since I was separated from Ethiopia, you can teach me about Ethiopia and Amharic to help me connect with my birthplace. And I don't know what I can share with you. Maybe what it's like to grow up as a black girl in a small town in Indiana with white parents?
Okay. It's not related to being an orphan, but I would appreciate if you can teach me about journalism in America. Khalid said you attend one of the best journalism schools in your country.
Sure. But I don't really think you need any help in the area of journalism. You're a talented investigative reporter.
Oh, thank you. But the U.S. has a special history regarding freedom of the press, right? I want to know more about it.
I never really thought of it as a special history, but I guess you're right. Freedom of the press is protected in the U.S. Constitution. So around 230 years ago, the Bill of Rights, which is a list of rights that all Americans have, was passed by Congress, and it guarantees the freedom of the press, which means that government can't control what people say. You can't get arrested for expressing your opinion, in general for regular people, and for the press. So newspapers can publish criticism of the government and political leaders.
I know that's what the law says in America, but Is it really effective? Does the government really respect the media like that?
Yeah, I think so. Mostly, anyway. Journalists don't get arrested, but there have been some terrorist threats and even one attack on newspaper offices. So, not everyone in the US is happy that the press is free. Okay, now tell me something about Ethiopia.
Oh, okay. For our first orphan club meeting, I will share something relevant to adoption. I know you have been researching adoption in Ethiopia to find information about yourself and your family. Did you know that in the 2000s, when there was a lot of international adoption in Ethiopia, around half of all the children came from one region?
No, I didn't know that. Which region?
The South.
Really? Khalid and I are going there next week for our research.
I don't know if that's where you are from, but statistically, it would make sense.
Thank you for telling me that. Now I have hope of finding some information about my family. It has been really difficult to not learn anything after all of these months.
I can imagine.
Ah, Helen and Alamayo are connecting over their shared experience of being orphans and their interest in communications and journalism. Will Helen find her birth family in the southern part of Ethiopia? Listen to future episodes and find out. Now for a lesson on English language. Time for vocabulary. Let's look at some words from the story. Our first vocabulary term is benefit. Alamayo said,
Yeah, some people will do anything for their own benefit. They don't care about other people.
benefit is a noun that means a good or helpful result or effect. Alamayo was empathizing with Helen about Zagaye by saying that some people will do anything to get a good result for themselves. They do things for their own benefit. The second vocabulary word is resolve. Alamayo said,
But now you are here in Ethiopia. You're learning about your culture. Do you think that will help you resolve these feelings?
resolve is a verb that means to find an answer or solution to something, to settle or solve something. Alamayo asked Helen if she can find answers or feel settled about her cultural identity. He wonders if she found a resolution. The third term is interests. Helen said,
Well, yes. My friend Samira always tells me that I'm boy crazy, that I forget about myself and my own interests and plans when I get a boyfriend. And she thinks that the people I date are usually not good. I used to think that she was wrong, but now that this happened with Zagaye, I've been thinking a lot about it.
Interests is a noun that means something such as a hobby that a person enjoys learning about or doing. Helen hasn't been focusing on her own activities because she's been distracted by Zagaye. Now that they've broken up, she can focus on her own interests. Our fourth vocabulary term is alone.
I don't like being alone because when I'm alone, I think about everything. Who am I? Where am I from? Am I American? Am I Ethiopian?
Alone is an adjective that means without anyone or anything else, not involving or including anyone or anything else, separate from other people or things. Helen struggles with feeling separate from other people. She feels alone. And the fifth vocabulary term is it's over. Zagaye and Helen said,
Please, Helen, let's meet. I can come to your home. We should talk about all this.
I don't want to see you. Do not come to my home. Goodbye, Zagaye. It's over.
It's over is a phrase that is used to say that something is finished. Helen is saying their relationship is finished. Their relationship is over. Time for expressing yourself in English. Expressing a counterpoint. Expressing a counterpoint means expressing an opposing view. The first introduced opinion is a point, and the opinion that opposes it is a counterpoint. Let's listen to an example from the episode.
I think for me, I've been really focused on school and work. I don't think it's about my status as an orphan, but I also feel the pain you feel about not having a home and not having a family. My situation is different, of course. I was not adopted to another country, so I feel close to Ethiopia. But on the other hand, I don't have what you have. You have parents in America that love you and support you. I have nothing.
Alamayo is making the point that he wasn't separated from his country of birth like Helen. Then he makes the counterpoint that she has a family in America that loves her, so there are disadvantages and advantages to her situation. He introduces the counterpoint with the expression, on the other hand. Next time you want to make a counterpoint, say, on the other hand. Time for grammar. Signaling time with before, after, and when. When describing events and their time relationships, it is common to use clauses with before, after, and when. Clauses are groups of words that have a subject and a verb, and sometimes an object or complement. Clauses with before, after, and when are dependent clauses. That means they can't stand alone. They must be attached to another clause. Let's listen to an example.
Yeah, before it burned down, we played together and studied in class together. The other orphans were like my family. The other orphans, but when it burned down, we were all sent to different centers. So we were separated. Shortly after that, I went to university, so I haven't had a friend like you in a long time. Someone else who's an orphan.
Alamayo was talking about the orphanage burning down. He said, before it burned down. This is a dependent time clause describing when he and the other orphans played together. He also said, when it burned down, to describe when the orphans were all sent to different centers. Use before, after, and when in dependent clauses to describe when something happened. Time for facts on American culture and education. Freedom of the press in the United States. Alamayo asked Helen about the freedom of the press in the U.S. The U.S. Constitution guarantees freedom of the press in the First Amendment. It is considered a critical feature of a healthy democracy. The press can investigate and report what the government is doing and keep the public informed. The press is able to hold government officials accountable, the way Alamayo's reporting held Zagaye and the Student Council accountable. Read an American newspaper and you will find reporting that is critical of the American government. Thank you for listening to Helen's Journey. We'll see you next time. The introduction and closing music, Blue Ska, is by Kevin MacLeod, Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons.
Executive Producer, Hailu Kabada. Directors, Abdullah Birru, Antaneh Brahani. Sound and Editing, Tamrat Alamu. Narrator, Timothy Green. Casts, Theodros Tasama as Alamayo. Zarihun Brahanu as Khalid. Adana Gitacho as Zagaya.